The word epidemic gets used a lot these days, but it may be the case that that word is not strong enough to describe this country's recent surge in opioid addiction.
The heroin epidemic in America.
The opioid crisis is an emergency.
3 kids rushed to the hospital overdosing on Xanax.
Opioid addiction is reaching epidemic levels.
For 1 week, Nightline partnered with our affiliate stations across the country.
It's an evil beast that's been led upon this earth.
The drug crisis in America is a dangerous and rising epidemic. Every year, thousands of people die due to overdose of both prescription drugs and illegal substances. Drug abuse is a common issue and trend throughout the United States. On average, per day, 130 Americans die from drug overdose. The first law banning the non-medical use of a substance was the Smoking Opium Exclusion Act of 1909. In 1919, the 18th Amendment was passed, which banned the importation, possession, and manufacturing of intoxicating liquor, giving way to the Prohibition era. Prohibition was later overturned by the 21st Amendment in 1933. President Nixon signed the Controlled Substances Act in 1970, which classifies drugs into 7 schedules based on potential abuse and medical application. Schedule 1 drugs are considered to be the most dangerous, such as heroin and LSD. Schedule 5 drugs include substances such as cough syrup. A year later, Nixon declared a war on drugs, and that drug abuse was public enemy number 1. Nixon also created the Drug Enforcement Administration in 1973, which has around 5,000 agents and a $2.3 billion budget today. The current crisis started in the 1990s with the overprescription of opioid painkillers. Over the next decade, a growing number of people became dependent on these drugs, and for many, what started with pills escalated to a heroin addiction. Then in 2014, potent synthetic opioids such as fentanyl entered the drug supply in large amounts. We decided to analyze data specifically from Maryland from the years 2007 to 2016. As for the highest rate of deaths in Maryland, mostly Baltimore area, heroin has the highest death rate. Heroin is a type of opioid made from morphine and is planted in various countries around the world. The death rates are continuing to rise at a dangerously rapid rate. As seen in the data, in 2007, 399 heroin deaths were suffered, with a sudden decrease to 289 and picking back up to 360 in 2009, and a steady increase until 2016 to get 1,212 heroin deaths in Baltimore area in 2016, leaving a total of 4,927 deaths due to heroin over the past 10 years in Baltimore alone. The next drug that we are going to take a look at here are prescription opioids, which are considered a crisis to the Federal Drug Administration today because of the rising numbers of prescription opioid addictions and overdoses. So starting with 302 in 2007 and decreasing a little bit, and then picking back up for a total of 418 deaths in 2016, leaving a total of 3,212 deaths over the past 10 years due to prescription opioid overdoses. Up next we have alcohol, which obviously is not a drug, but the Federal Drug Administration does consider it a substance that is being abused in America, starting with 187 deaths in 2007 and then making a decrease, and then slowly increasing from the years 2011 to 2016, making a huge jump from 310 in 2015 to 582 in 2016, for a total of 2,440 alcohol-related deaths over the 8 years. Next, benzodiazepine, which is more rare than typical prescription opioids, but it is considered an opioid, only with 37 deaths in 2007, and then steadily increasing with a jump from 2013 to 2014, from 69 to 103. Then from 2015, 91 to 126 in 2016, reaching a total of 725. And the graph shows a steady increase here and then a spike at 2016. Next is cocaine-related deaths with a high of 248 in 2007, and then slowly having kind of an inconsistent pattern on the graph here. As you can see, it kind of bounces back and forth. And then from 2013 to 2016, a definite increase with a huge spike from 2015 to 2016 with 463 cocaine-related deaths in 2016 for a total of 2,039 cocaine-related deaths in Baltimore over the 8 years. Up next we have fentanyl deaths, which start at a really low number of 26 deaths in 2007, and as the 8 years progress, the numbers escalate in a giant way, going from 2007 26 to 1,119 in 2016 to have the second highest number of deaths in 2016 following heroin. And if we look at the graph, it was very uncommon in these years right here. As you can see, not a lot of deaths, and then this giant spike shows an increase in the last couple of years for a total of 1,875 fentanyl-related deaths over the years. Overall, it's very easy to see how these drugs have affected the death rate in Maryland over these 8 years, with a severe increase in every single one. On this graph, it's easy to compare the differences between them, showing heroin as the leader in almost every single year in overdose deaths, following prescription opioid deaths, alcohol, and so on and so forth. Fentanyl is the lowest, however, it does go to the second highest in 2016, proving the rising opioid crisis in the United States today.